So, I was asked not too long ago, why do I play Airsoft? That's a really good question, and it's kind of hard to answer, because there's not really one reason. I don't think there's one reason for anyone. Whether your buddy turned you on to it, or it was cheaper than paintball, whatever, that's kind of a cop-out excuse. And, not to be an excuse to play, but there's something that attracts you to it. There's something beautiful about, going into the middle of nowhere and shooting toy guns at each other and laughing about it. I mean, that moment when Piney Woods, East Texas stopped being the Piney Woods, East Texas, and they become the Shaw Valley in 1969, or they become Panama in 1989, or even some parts that are a little more open become Mogadishu in 1993. That's when Airsoft is beautiful to me. That's when I enjoy it. That's why I play. The number one core reason is because it stops being a fantasy and it kind of edges into reality for a little bit. And in your mind, it's real. And, I'll never compare, what people really went through doing that to a game. But the idea is, military simulation or combat simulation or war games is that it's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to feel like the real thing. That's why I don't really go to indoor CQB fields. It's just not immersive. I can't get immersed in that. I can't pretend it's anything but an airsoft game. So that's, a lot of it's the immersive factor. A lot of it is really the people. There are airsofters that were family to me when family wasn't. When I was homeless, I had people all over offering me a place to stay. People didn't really know me. Maybe bought something from me. Maybe got in an argument with me on Facebook or just talked about gear for a little bit. Excuse me. Like, they had enough compassion and cared enough about some complete stranger. They just happened to have one hobby in common with them, some of the few same interests, to take that person in when he needed it. There are people from all walks of life that do this. There are people that have struggled with addiction, have been to prison, were in the military, wounded combat veterans, struggling with PTSD every night, divorcees, abusive childhoods. There are people that make 6 figures a year. There are people that work for minimum wage or on food stamps. Most of those people find something in common. And that, to me, that is beauty. That is wonderful. Because most of these guys, we've got a lot in common because the same activities attract similar people. But our lives really aren't similar aside from Airsoft. It allows me to make friends with people that I otherwise would never interact with. If not for Airsoft, you wouldn't be watching this. You wouldn't have to suffer through this, so that's one downfall. But I'd be sitting in my room constantly on friggin' 4chan and Facebook doing nothing with my life, not having any motivation to do anything. If you can't figure it out, I'm probably clinically depressed. And I hate putting that out there because I don't like people to know that I have issues like that. This is how I cope with that. I put on a funny face and I act, and it's funny. This is when I'm not acting. I'm not making dick jokes or talking in a bad southern drawl as much as I can help it. This is when I'm just being upfront and straight with you. This is Colt. This isn't Colt and Friends Airsoft shenanigans right now. This is just Colt. 95% of the people, the very silent majority, are wonderful people in this hobby. I look forward to all these Milsim events, not really so much for the game, because I can really do that fairly nearby for a lot cheaper, to be honest with you. It is the game. That's most of it. But a lot of it is just interacting with other people like me, my internet friends that are going to be there. All the inside jokes we make in the group chat. That's what attracts me to it. Broken Home is kind of like the family reunion for Milsim. Hundreds of people go to that. All these vendors, all these people I've talked to, people I've bought shit from, people that have, customer service guys from these companies that I can come up to and talk to. Hey man, I don't know if you remember me, but if you're the same guy from that phone call, you helped me out. Thank you so much. You want to smoke? Can I buy you a beer? There's wonderful people that do this. And that's kind of what keeps me in it. Because there are times when I go months without getting on that kind of adrenaline high that comes with the immersion, and I feel like quitting. But man, I'm not going to get back into this. It's not worth it because that doesn't happen enough. But then I find ways to have fun in the staging area. I find ways to do shenanigans at the local CQB field. I'll show up to the maybe half-acre field with broke-down cars and pallets in a sombrero and a poncho or an Indian headdress. That seems really racist, but it's not. The guy that had me wear the Indian headdress, actually full-blood Cherokee, I believe, he thought it was hilarious because you got, you know, Chief Big Dick running around with a Kalashnikov, and it was great. So that's why I play, man, because I love the immersive factor. I love, honestly, in my mind, being transported to another time, another place, in a completely different situation. It's an escape. It's like reading a book. You know, I've stopped being in Texas, in, you know, the middle of the woods outside of Linden. I start being in Vietnam. I start being in Panama, like I said. And it's also just the people around me. People that go out of their way to help new players. You know, folks from Eastwind that were cool, that helped me out. They busted my balls a lot, but it was constructive. Airsoftology Jonathan, I love you, dude. Your video has helped me out with a ton of stuff. Answered questions that I couldn't quite put to words and was always wondering about. Amped Airsoft. Man, I gained a lot of respect for those guys. I gained a lot of respect for Josh Warren as well when they did their 40th episode and interviewed him. You know, or not really interviewed, but he kind of, you know, put in some discussion. I gained a lot of respect for him because I saw the him that wasn't the internet persona. You know, I didn't see internet Russians Josh Warren. I saw Josh Warren. You know, it wasn't Josh Warren the Ranger, it was just Josh Warren. That's what I love. When people that I'm used to joking around from the internet, why not being open with me and being another person, a friend? So, and again, I'm not saying like I'm not friends with Josh, I never talked to him directly, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. When someone becomes a person in person, seeing all these guys I talk to on the forums and on Facebook groups in person, and getting to know, hey, these guys are actually cool. They're actually normal human, well, semi-normal human beings just like me. So, like I said, you know, it's about the people, well, it's about the immersion, and it's about the people. That's why I play, that's what I'm here for. You know, I mean, I can get off the phone, I actually just got the phone with a buddy of mine, and we talked for about an hour about pretty much everything. Addiction, homelessness, guns, you know, women, friggin' everything. And that's why I play, because I love most people that do it. I've said it before in the motivational video, and I say it at the end of every video. You know, I do love you, because you have the same interests as me. We're doing the same thing for the same reasons, mostly. And that makes you my friend, you know? There are a lot of people in this hobby I'm not afraid to call brother. The first one, I'm wearing his t-shirt, and right now, he's in Calgary, Alberta, in a 40 cal ammo can on his parents' mantle. So, you know, don't be afraid to be a human being. And as always, like I said, go outside today and do something productive with your life. I love you.